Hello out there, you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another Magic discussion. And this time I'm going to be talking about The Legend of Zelda Triforce RPG. And it's a concept that honestly makes a lot of sense for the Legend of Zelda universe, especially if you want to take it to mobile where multiple people would be playing it and could get into it. There are a lot of popular RPGs on mobile. And unlike most of Nintendo's, actually all of Nintendo's current offerings on mobile, this game would be played in landscape rather than portrait because you would turn your phone sideways. And that's just simply because that's honestly myself, I would prefer that to be the aesthetic because I've seen everything Nintendo has put out be landscape, not landscape, be portrait. So a landscape perspective for a game would be a nice change. That being said, Legend of Zelda Triforce RPG would actually be very much more akin to Final Fantasy Brave Xevious or Xvious or whatever it's called. I don't know how it's pronounced per se. But it would be akin to that, like how it's set up and how it plays. But you would play with Link and Zelda as your main two characters. That would be the difference. You play with Link and Zelda as your main two characters. And this Link and Zelda would have grown up together. They know each other. They're friends. They're not people that just happen to meet each other because of their specific roles in history. They actually know each other. Like, and they've developed a bond and a friendship and have worked together for a long time. This Zelda is still a princess. And this version of Link, he could be considered of noble origin. Like, I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing to have for a Link. He can be of noble origin. And he's just a knight. Like, maybe he's one, again, that's been around Zelda all her life, so he knows her well enough. And they just mesh very well because of that. And that would play itself out through character dialogues and stuff. And no, it will not be voice acted, but there would be dialogue. So Link would essentially speak, but he still wouldn't have a voice. But, sorry, my throat's kind of itchy, and I'm trying to just hurry to get through this. But I think that could be pretty cool. Like, and then they could take the approach that Triforce Heroes took, where not Triforce Heroes, goodness, Hyrule Warriors. The approach that Hyrule Warriors took, where you had characters reaching into other realms to bring, like, again, much like the Final Fantasy RPG that's on mobile. the one I'm talking about. I just don't want to keep saying the name because I'll screw it up. But that way, like, you can bring in, again, like, you bring in multiple different versions of Link that all have different styles to them. They're mean, because whether people want to realize it or not every Link is exactly the same. They may have very similar traits to each other, but they're not all exactly the same. They're different people. Same for Zelda. Like, all the Zeldas are different people. Some of them are warriors, some of them aren't. All of them have at some point delved into magic one way or the other, but they're not all the same character. They don't all think the same way, though. You could, like for crap, that was stuck. For example, Twilight Princess Zelda, I would consider her more of a military strategist, whereas I'd say that Zelda from Wind Waker, she's more the rough and tumble type and would get in your face and fight. That they're both intelligent, they're both smart and know what to do in given situations, but I think they each handle a situation very differently depending on what's around them and what resources are available. You would get the same outcome, but you'd get different methods of doing it, is my point. So you can have them have characters like Girahim, you can have Zant show up, you can have Twin Rovas, like all these characters could appear like in different forms from different worlds, because the basic plot of the story again could be very similar to Hyrule Warriors, where you're just trying to close portals or fix what's going on with certain portals. Hell, this Link in Zelda could be helping oversee the timeline of events, which would make them special in the story in a different way, would make them very much like Sia and the other half of her. I keep forgetting her name, but you know what I'm talking about. And that's what would be interesting as far as the story goes. Now, again, this would probably likely be a gacha game where you're just rolling for chances to get certain characters and stuff like that, and it would be free to play, so you'd be able to put your own money into it if you wanted. Somebody like me, I wouldn't do it, but for those who want the option, it would be there. The only thing I really couldn't explain is having multiple variations of the Triforce available, because then that would also mean that there are multiple physical incarnations of Ganondorf. They're not all the same person. Some of them, I mean, the spirit is the same. I don't think the physical body is the same for all of them, and that also means you could have demise in the game as well. So there's a lot to unpack that you could put into this game, and they wouldn't have to throw all of that out in the beginning. Again, they could take their time and build it up like they're doing with Dragalia Lost or Fire Emblem Heroes, where they're taking their time and adding in content and stories and stuff for characters to be able to partake in. It's really essentially the same system. It's just a different brand with a different level of popularity, and putting it into a system that it hasn't been in yet, which I think for Legend of Zelda this could work. But that's it for this. Thank you guys very much for listening. If you're interested in supporting the channel, the links to my book are down below. My poetry book are in the description. You can go ahead and get the ebook, or you can get the physical copy. It's up to you. Physical copy costs more, but that's because of printing costs. But thank you again. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out.